those of you who might be listening to us live streaming across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or those of you who might be tuning in and catch up on Spotify or iTunes or wherever your favorite podcast resides, that's where we are. So for those of you who are on those channels, please like and comment and subscribe so you can hear all our podcasts. I'm Lyn Hawkins, the National Director and the founder of Business Women Australia, and I'm so excited to have the wonderful Lezly Kaye in the studio with me today. Lezly and I have joined forces. We have partnered to bring to the women of Australia an incredible opportunity to sit together as a peer group and to be facilitated by this incredible chair, Lezly Kaye, in what we're calling the boardroom. So if you've been thinking about how you can really connect and develop really strong and meaningful relationships with women while you investigate the strategic issues that are facing you in your business, that you might be managing a team, you might be managing a large entity, it might be a private company, a public company, a not-for-profit organisation, medium-sized practice. This is the organisation and the group that you've probably been waiting for. And we're going to find out from Lezly what that is and why she's come and curated this as something for Business Women Australia and partnering with us to really close a gap in the market. Lezly, tell us maybe what we might like to start with is just a little bit of a snapshot on why you've joined forces with us at Business Women Australia to launch the boardroom.
Really because of your values and mission. When we first connected and I dove into Business Women Australia and what you actually stand for, and truthfully, the woman that you are, Lyn, there was such an alignment of values. There was such a desire to expand on what you've already created and to almost bring the wisdom of the way in which I connect women, the way in which I can support businesses to grow, to Business Women Australia itself, with this partnership that actually supports everyone that's involved. And this is what I love about the type of work that I do. It's like, how can we build ecosystems of women that support each other to thrive? How can we support women to have better strategy and more connection and more reach and more power and presence and community inside of their lives and their organizations? So really for me, it was like, wow, there's already such a large platform here and so much heart from you and the women that are already inside Business Women Australia. And really, I just saw an opportunity to help amplify that and sort of take it to the next level. And in listening to some of the feedback from yourself and from the women in the group, it's like I can feel how much not only the world is craving this, but specifically the women in your networks and in my networks that are, sitting on the sidelines thinking, I don't like what's on offer, but I don't know what I need or want. And so inside of that, I've gone, oh my God, here's an opportunity to actually support Business Women Australia, you, as well as stepping into more of my leadership. Everything touches everything. It's not just about everyone else. And really be in this co-creation and this collaboration of something that I feel a lot of women are ready for and maybe just need some support in getting there.
Yeah, so the idea of it is a 12-month coming together regularly, like once a month, coming together for like half a day, is it?
Yes. Yeah. So half a day, once a month, and then an online 90-minute check-in. So there's you're not really left alone. We can help integrate and move the needle. We can help have conversations that are going to help women and their businesses evolve.
And you've been involved in quite a few different peer groups. I mean, you've been a CEO of a $60 million business that you've grown from scratch. And you've been involved in different cohorts around the place. Why is this different? I mean, why did you feel the need there to bring out another one? I was like, do we really need to do this one? I'm always encouraging women to step into other networks as well, but this is really quite unique, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've founded 5 companies now, 3 of them multi 7- and 8-figure organizations. And I've also been inside organizations which I've helped scale to multi-8 figures. And inside of those organizations and my own businesses, I did join networking groups. I did join boardroom experiences. I did join, and still do join, masterminds. And what I found was lacking, especially for women, was specifically women to women peer groups and masterminds that have the capacity to hold the strategy and the business growth alongside the relational aspects. So a lot of the women I'm talking to are like, I don't really know how to build, strong foundations of friendships of women that are as successful as me. My friends don't understand my success. I can only talk to them about, complain to them about my husband, not actually talk to them about where I'm striving in business. Or places where women actually stop other women from growing, and where that's been an issue. Where, in the conversation that we had the other day on the Q&A, I actually spoke into all the times that I was the woman sitting at the boardroom table not giving other women an opportunity, and where I've had to witness those patterns inside of myself and heal them and grow and expand and become an ally for the growth of women, and really understand that sometimes one of our biggest struggles is not having the community of women that are going in the same direction, and not having anyone help us to be in relationship with those women. And what I mean by that is actually being able to hold conversations if it gets difficult, or there's conflict, or multiple things that come up in relating with other people, let alone other women, and really have the skill set to guide women through those transitions and deepen connections and relationships where we're all moving towards the same thing, and kind of realizing there's enough space for us all at the top to have the businesses that we desire.
Yeah, I think, that's something that I really loved about this concept of the boardroom, is that by the same group of women coming together every month and meeting together, there's really an opportunity for accountability inside that group as well. There's going to be the chance to really have the safety of getting to know each other quite deeply, and having that sort of opportunity to hold space for each other and be there for each other while you really navigate deeply as leaders, what's going on inside, because until we lead ourselves, we can't really lead others. And I think that having a peer group that you're constantly coming back to. See, at the moment in the Business Women Australia calendar, we have incredible amounts of opportunities, and women will pick and choose, and it's a bit like a smorgasbord. If you feel like oysters this week, you can grab that. If you feel like dessert, you can go for dessert. But what that does is it kind of fits our worlds, and we pick and choose without having to necessarily show up every month. And I think that having a boardroom environment is really going to appeal to women who are very serious about their personal development and really want to navigate all these complexities around who I am, what I stand for, where my values are really deeply aligned with my deepest, most inner sacred self, my greatest femininity and my strength as a woman. And how do I then take that strength into not just this safe place that you're going to sort of build a vessel, which is just going to be a beautiful vessel. But how do we get off that boat too and navigate and flex these learnings and these new sense of self in the wider world, in the boardrooms that we're actually operating, in the work environments, in the communities, at home, wherever it might be that we, are starting to feel that we need to explore and be more true to who we are. And I think this is really, I'd like women who are thinking about the boardroom to really take a leap of faith, I think, to some extent, because at the end of the day, with anything that's a co-creation model, we aren't necessarily going to develop a program and throw it in and say, this is the program, this is going to, you tick this, you do this, you do your personal identity stuff, you do your values thing, you do this, you do that, tick, tick, tick. I mean, there's plenty of programs out there that are like that are going to just put you through the sort of the step-by-step things. But what this group is going to do is explore and co-create together what are the parameters on which you want to grow and where do you want to learn. And then there might be times when Lezly might think, okay, this is an opportunity to bring someone else that's got expertise in this area, and starts to then throw, as a provocateur, some concepts around for the group to navigate, in which case then that provocateur will leave, but the group will dig a bit deeper into that in terms of their own experiential learning. And I think this is what really appealed to me, Lezly, is that you sort of innately and intuitively want to grow this kind of experimental approach to sharing a leadership journey with other women. And that ticks the boxes for me. It really does.
I love how much you speak the same language as me. It's why there was so much resonance from the beginning. One of the biggest things, like, I have a library of 24 lessons that I could give people, teach people, take people through. Like, I do this work, this job day in, day out. It's not like, I came to you with this idea and then decided to be a mentor or a coach and had no resources behind me. Like, this is what I live and breathe and what I've been studying and implementing for the past 6 years. So for those women that might want a bit more structure or might want a bit more of an idea of what will be covered, get on a call with me. I'll show you my library. Like, if one of the strategy sessions or healing sessions or information sessions or embodiment sessions or somatic sessions inside of my world of expertise and my library of growth and resources, if that appeals to you and it appeals to more women in the group, we will do a whole session on it. And this is what is beautiful about the co-creation and letting the magic weave of the women that comes together. The intuition behind, I don't fully know what everyone's going to want until we have most of the cohort filled. And then we're going to listen because, for me especially, and for a lot of women that I speak to, it's like, I don't want to be dictated to in how I'm going to lead. I don't want to be dictated to in what things I need in my life. And it really is just being with what's true and present in the moment and letting that work to come through us in order to progress collectively into where we're going. So I want to say, for the women that love like the strategy and the resources, I have it. If you want to look at it, let's get on a call and I'll share my screen and you can have a look at every library access that I have.
And it is for women in those sort of management and leadership roles, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So leaders, managers, CEOs, founders, it's really the type of woman versus the position. And it's really just women that want business done differently. They're kind of over the status quo of just doing things the same way they've been done. And there's a desire to evolve not only their leadership, but how inside of their organizations that they either lead themselves or lead their teams, or how as the founders and CEOs and leaders, they're going to start to shape business done differently.
Okay, and you have, as you say, this amazing library or toolkit of things that you've developed over the years and knowledge and expertise. Tell me about the somatic practices that are central to your approach, and how do you integrate these practices with high-stakes business environments?
Yeah, I love this question. One of the biggest conversations I have, especially with high-achieving women, is they tend to be aware of their blind spots. There's a level of awareness of, well, I know that if I fixed X, Y, and Z, or I know this behavior is not serving me. But awareness doesn't precede change unless you can feel what the underlying issue is. And so this was a game changer for me when I stepped out of just doing personal growth, like traditional, and I love AIM, but, like AIM management, Australian Institute of management courses or leadership courses, which was very logic-based, very mind-based. And really that gave me a level of awareness, but it didn't give me the level of what I would call embodiment. So like moving through what is actually alive versus just being aware of it. And so somatic practices might simply be like closing your eyes and taking a breath and feeling where in your body you're feeling stuck or feeling fear right now. And through that process, we actually start to integrate the body-mind connection. And this is when we create lasting change. So this can show up where, you know, like we might be sailing through our business and we keep hitting the same income ceiling. So maybe you are making 300K a year and you keep hitting that ceiling and hitting that ceiling and hitting that ceiling. You're trying new strategies. You don't know what's going wrong, but there's just something that's not shifting. Now, again, highly aware and highly successful women tend to know some of their issues, but it's not until we can lean into, so it's actually a form of somatic parts therapy. And so it's not until we can lean into the somatic sensation of maybe some fear about what it means to move from 300K to 500K. Now, sometimes this can be fear of leaving people or things behind. So I had a woman that I was working with where this was her actual reality. And basically what was happening was her relationship was already under pressure. And what she wasn't consciously aware of, but we discovered in her subconscious, was that she had a fear that if she made more money, her relationship would break down further. So when we actually took her focus off her business and put it on her relationship, so her and her partner had a deeper connection, the business actually started to move and make more money because she wasn't operating from fear anymore, and she had a somatic awareness. So what we did was find the fear in her body, and through that process, rather than being in her mind, we actually got to the root cause, which was essentially her heart being like, I don't want to end up heartbroken if my marriage ends if I keep making more money. And so combining strategy with psychology basically allows us to find, I want to say almost shortcuts to more success, because we're bridging the gap in body-mind connection, and it's allowing us to move through resistance in a more integrated way.
And how do you define success, Lezly? I mean, in your journey, you know, I'm very interested in, as much as the boardroom, I'm very interested in you and your journey and seeing you shine, and as you're navigating sort of this next sort of calling and kind of vocation that you've got in your life.
Oh, how do I define success? I want to say not feeling restricted in any area of my life. So I grew my business in a way, you know, like I hit multi six figures in my first year of coaching, and most people don't even succeed in their first year of coaching. But I did it in such, you know, I traveled. I think I was out of the country every second or third month for that first year. And I only stopped traveling 3 months ago. Basically when I came to, and I was like, you know, I want to be more involved in the business networks in Perth. Like I know there's women here that are ready to do business differently. So yeah, I want to say success for me is about making money in a way that is aligned to my values, aligned to the version of me that I am, as well as the version of me that I'm becoming. And for me, it's very much not being in the hustle and the grind and the traditional or old ways of doing business, because I built my 8-figure empires on the back of a lot of hustle and grind and disconnect. And that's what sent me on the journey to understand how I can guide women to build their lives in a way that feels as good as it looks. And for me, that's kind of the catalyst. Is it doesn't matter if it looks good or looks good to my friends or looks good on social media. For me, the barometer is, do I feel good in what I'm doing? Do the relationships that I have with the women that I'm in co-creation and collaboration with feel good? Like, am I working with good people? Do they have big hearts? Are they heart-centered? Do they want to evolve in their leadership more and continue to open their hearts into the world? Because I can tell you now, I've had offers to step back into corporate and step back into recruitment for big sums of money. And the conversations I've had with the leaders of those businesses, I wouldn't do it. Like $500,000 for contracts that people would look at and be like, wow, that's a really good deal. But then meeting the leaders of those companies and, my whole body being in contraction and me going, this isn't the type of leadership I want to be involved with. So it's also having the capacity to say no to those opportunities because I know who I am and what I stand for. And like, I just won't sell my soul for money anymore, basically.
And what you're describing is this very much this connection between the mind and the body and the soul. And I think that, when you're talking about physically being tuned in and feeling what your body's telling you as well, we have to talk about burnout as well, because so many people are not tuned in to what's going on with their bodies, right? And they're experiencing burnout. And I know that this is you've got a really big, passionate sort of drive to help people understand what's going on with their whole selves so that they can avoid the terrible things that happen when people do burn out. And it's a bit of a crisis really at the moment.
Oh yeah, so many women and men, but I talk about women because I am a woman, so I have an embodied experience. Burnout to me is the body screaming because we're not listening. Burnout to me, and I burnt down a $20 million business because I hit burnout in a big way. And it took me 12 months to recover from it. Running and running and running and working and working and working and continuing to ignore myself and ignore my body. I got to 110 kilos. I really didn't feel much. So I didn't feel any sort of emotion. I was so like locked down, or if I felt it, it would like move really quickly and not in a healthy way. I just stopped any emotion from coming to the surface. And then it actually started to bubble out into like frustration or anger. I would snap at a colleague or a team member, or I'd snap at my child, which is worse. And, it was one of the things that led to this inquiry about living a different way and having a deeper relationship with myself first, and then the rest of the world, was the burnout that led to like, I want to say like an internal combustion almost. And I literally felt like I had no choice but to burn my whole life to the ground. Like I closed my business, I left my husband, I literally just felt so trapped and so consumed by the life that I had created that I didn't think there was any way out except to just collapse and crumble. And by that point, I'd been doing it in my own businesses for 4 years, but as a high performer for other organizations for 12 years of my life, that it was the first time that I actually firstly allowed myself to crumble. And the burnout was that bad. So normally what I would do is like work solid for 3 months, take a 4-week or a 2-week holiday, work solid, take another holiday, work solid. But it kind of got to the point where that strategy wasn't working anymore. And I hit what I would, or most people would describe as like chronic fatigue. And I really couldn't do much for an entire 12 months. Now, I sold a business, so I didn't need to work. And I'm very grateful that I had that space to heal. But a lot of women don't have, or a lot of people actually don't have that luxury. Yeah. And I think if we can connect to our bodies now, if we can use our business as a way to be in deeper relationship to ourselves. And what I mean by that is, if you're getting frustrated at your team members, there's something you're not looking at inside of yourself. If you're getting frustrated at the speed in which you're growing, there's something you're not looking at inside of yourself. If you're drinking a bottle of wine a night, you're probably trying to numb out from what you're truly feeling. If you're eating to the point where you're gaining weight or you're not losing weight and your weight is a risk to your health, and likely because your doctors told you your blood pressure's not good, your skin's really bad, like dry skin or an eczema and stuff like that, but you keep eating, then there's something you're ignoring inside of yourself. And so often people are like, I don't really know where burnout came from. And I actually don't believe that to be true. I think we are just so used to ignoring ourselves and ignoring our needs that we think if we just keep pushing and fighting and maybe, one more 12-hour day is going to push the business into the success that it needs to break me free. Or maybe you're a CEO and you don't have boundaries with the owner of the organization and you keep putting your health on the back burner, your relationships on the back burner, and you keep saying yes to things that you should be saying no to, you're going to burn out. Nothing should actually come as a surprise to you. I can feel if I'm pushing myself too much. And I don't buy into boss babe hustle culture, but I'm not silly enough to think that we don't need committed, focused time of dedication to move the needle in our business. Now, I get to work 20 hours a week because I've set my life up like that. Not everyone is going to have that capacity. It depends on their business model, their business structure, and their desires. Some people don't want to work 20 hours a week. But for me, I want to say coming into deeper relationship with burnout allows you to then actually decide, what do I want? What do I value? And how do I create a life and a business, or a career and a business around me and not the other way around? And that's actually one of the surefire ways to avoid burnout, is to make your business work for you, not you work for your business.
Look, it's a really important discussion, and it's almost, I think, could be a topic for our whole podcast sometime, is to really dig deep into that. So, I mean, some of the women that will come into this boardroom will be probably feeling that they're swimming along quite well. They won't be at that level. Some will be feeling, oh, I can feel this. I know, things are getting a little bit out of control. I would like to have a group around me to support me and help me prioritize and help me sort of get some things in order. And I want to learn from others who, have been here before and have people help me be accountable to the decisions I'm going to make outside this peer group meeting. So, the boardroom is going to have a real mix of incredibly successful and talented, experienced women. And Lezly will be facilitating each of the monthly sessions. Now, another thing, while we're on the subjects of, the tricky and taboo subjects that we often avoid talking about, tell me about another thing that I see happening a lot amongst very high-performing people. They often self-sabotage as well. I mean, you and I have talked a little bit about this in the past, and I thought, well, we've got a few minutes on this. We might as well delve into this one. I mean, it arrived for you in some regard too, didn't it, at a key point in your life?
Well, I want to say burnout was a contributing factor, but self-sabotage was, I want to say, there was a number of crisis moments before the burnout hit that I kept on feeling like I was putting out fires and putting out fires and putting out fires, and nothing was going right. And whether it was like an employee leaving, or a manager leaving, or a client coming into crisis, or a client folding and not paying their bills, there was so many moments of crisis inside of my business towards the end. And when I actually zoomed out and took a step back, it was I want to say, like, of my own creation in many ways. Again, whether it was the team members that were leaving because I was so high stressed and disconnected that I was putting too much pressure on them. I had unrealistic expectations. It's so funny, the chalk and cheese of the woman I am now to the leader that I was, because there were moments where I wasn't a good leader, or an authentic leader, or a heart-led leader. I was under so much pressure and so much disillusion, actually, that I didn't know how to lead effectively, because I didn't know how to lead myself effectively. I actually just want to voice something here that came to me. If you're listening to this and you think, I don't belong here because I'm not yet a good leader, or I'm not yet heart-led, or there's more that I want to improve in my leadership, or I don't want to be judged for the bad choices that I've made, or, there's a little peak of fear where you think, oh, I wonder if I'm a good leader and will I be exposed if I'm in a group like this? I just want to reiterate the safety that I bring. And I know you need to sometimes feel it rather than hear it, but I was a shit leader. I wasn't the woman that I am today. And it took me actually being faced with all of the ways in which I sabotaged and had my team leave, had my business stolen from me, had clients stolen from me, had all of these dramatic things happen, that it wasn't until those moments actually came that I stopped and I was like, well, I'm the common denominator here. Like, I'm the connection between all of these things happening, and really starting to ask the questions as to why. So I just want to sidebar there. I hold shame and guilt and lack of judgment really well. Like, genuinely, you could sit across from me and be like, I killed someone, and my first response would be, how did we get here? Like, I care more about the pain that you were in to walk you to the place of discomfort than what you did on the other side of that. So I just want to highlight that for anyone that might be listening that's feeling a bit triggered or called out in any way. That's actually an invitation to lean in and to be held through this evolution. And one of my intentions for the group is to help people hold other people's pain with grace. A lot of my world and my programs are all about grace, because I think as women there's this lost art of actually being in our power with grace. And I both hold this power and capacity to help people grow, but I do it in such a way where I don't want anyone to feel unsafe in the exposure of their wounds and in the exposure of perhaps the places that they know that they haven't been their best version of themselves, and they keep hiding from themselves or hiding from peer groups like this because there's this fear of, well, if I actually stepped into a mastermind that was going to help me evolve, I'm going to have to speak into all the ways that I wasn't the best version of me, and that can be daunting. So I just want to really voice that my intention for everyone is to hold the group with so much privacy, grace, safety, truly a place to come undone and not have to hold back the tears or pretend you're powerful or not speak into the pain that you're in or the realizations that you've had about all the ways in which maybe you were a shit wife and a shit leader, because it's only from that place, that truth that you find inside of your system, that we can actually help you evolve and help your leadership evolve and your business become better, or the teams that you manage become better. So I just wanted to voice that. But yeah, self-sabotage for me, almost like the 300K ceiling that I was talking to before, these glass ceilings that we hit in our leadership, in our business, is ways in which our subconscious keeps us stuck in the stories that it's telling us. So it might be that, and again, I find this in high achieving women, that we're hitting let's say it's 100K salary income or 100K earning ceiling. And we can't seem to break through this. And we keep getting opportunities given to us, but for some reason we'll self-sabotage. Now, self-sabotage actually is a form of protection. I don't often use the word sabotage because when you understand the human psyche, basically we're all just little girls running around trying to find love. And so that part of us that's trying to find love isn't sabotaging, it's protecting. What's really happening is it feels safe in the level of success that you currently have. And what feels really unsafe is actually being more successful. And, our ego, our prefrontal cortex, is designed to keep us alive and keep us safe. And so what happens in self-protection is our ego is anchoring us to the reality that it knows, and it won't let us evolve into the greatness on the other side. Like whether it's a 200K salary or a 500K business, it's not letting us go there because it doesn't know what we're walking into. In the ego, the reptilian part of our brain, as far as it's concerned, maybe the exposure, being seen, being heard, being loved, being appreciated in a 200K salary or 500K business or whatever it is going to get us killed in some way. And genuinely, you might laugh and but I kid you not, that is the way we're wired. And so for those listening going, I don't know if that's true, trust me, I've invested my life studying this, and there is a part of you that thinks that's true.
it's actually not a bad segue on that note, is in revealing these types of things about ourselves in a boardroom environment, how are you going to build that trust? You know, this is often the thing that stops people from coming in and joining a group or what have you, is this, you know, this self-protection, but also
I think Lyn has broken there. So I feel like I'm still live. So I'm going to talk through this section. So Lyn, what I think she was asking me is how I'm going to build the trust and the safety. You know, I think people assume that grace or heart-centered leadership or feminine leadership is soft. And it's not. Feminine leadership is actually fierce. Feminine leadership is actually, I'm making a stand here. Feminine leadership is knowing what you're a stand for and what you're a stand against. And so touching on this safety piece, not only do I have the skills to coordinate difficult conversations or tough conversations, but I won't stand for anything besides safety. I won't stand for, you know, holding these experiences that aren't creating safety for everyone involved. And I'm not afraid to call people out on their behaviors in a way that they can receive it. So it's not about dictatorship. It's not about power or control. For me, it is about being in devotion to the evolution of feminine leadership, powerful feminine leadership. Having deeply connected women at the helm of big businesses of purpose. And so safety for me comes by, like standing in your truth, by having difficult conversations, by speaking into things that people might be too afraid to speak into, and holding the depths and the complexities and the judgments and the projections and the pain and the fear, and really holding space for truth. And often in conversations, there's 3 versions of the truth: my truth, your truth, and the actual truth. And it's really having an understanding of this dynamic in relating and being able to bring that to the forefront of conversations and connection inside of this peer group. Yeah. And I want to say from here, and I really hope this is still broadcasting, if you have questions, reach out. I don't sell, I invite. I'm not going to get on a call and hard sell you into joining. I genuinely just want to build connection and community. And so if you're sitting here listening and thinking, I'm really interested in these opportunities, like book a call. Let's just chat into your questions, your concerns, your desires, your fears. This can only be a co-creation and collaboration if you're willing to say yes and lean in and start to have these conversations around how we can make this work to help you and your business evolve. I look forward to connecting with you all very soon.
Well, I think I just dumped out Lezly, and she was probably saying something pretty important there, but the stream tossed me out and now I'm back in. So I'm hoping that Lezly will join us just to say goodbye, because it's been an incredible opportunity. And I think that anyone who might be listening to the live stream, here you go, the joy of watching things happen in real time. So great stuff. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone. And we will be back. Reach out to me or to Lezly. Lezly, I tossed you out by the look of it, but I was just saying to everyone who might be listening or catching up on the recording, jump in and have a chat to Lezly, find out a little bit more about the boardroom. We'd love to have more people involved. Thanks, Kellyanne Winrow. It's great to see your comments supporting Lezly on the pivot. When I disappeared, my first laptop completely died, so I'm on my second one. So I'm enjoying this live recording.
Yeah, I think it kept recording whilst I was on. I think we must have come back in at the same time. So I did carry on from your question. I spoke into safety. And if anyone wants me to delve a little deeper into the question around safety, if it didn't go live, get on a call. Honestly, I pretty much was saying that feminine leadership isn't passive. And feminine leadership, I talk about heart-centered and love-centered, but for me, there's a fierceness to that. There's a fierceness to, like, I won't stand for anyone feeling unsafe. And it's having the capacity to hold difficult conversations and to keep the integrity of the container through my own fierce devotion to ensuring everyone feels safe to be their fully expressed selves. And from that place, that's where we evolve into the leadership that we're desiring.
Absolutely. Look, I think it's such a great concept. I think it's going to take a very wonderful group of leaders to come together and be the first cohort that come on board. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to being a part of the actual boardroom environment, whether you want me there every month or if you'd like me to just come in and share some of my story. I haven't shared all my life story with all the business women over the years, but they've heard bits and pieces. And, there have been times when I have wished that I had a peer group of incredible, powerful women who are vulnerable and leaning into their vulnerability, but also wanting to hold my hand and be my sister through this journey in life. So thank you so much, Lezly, for being so incredible at pivoting when I just disappeared, but also for being immensely generous in your spirit to be able to bring such a great concept to Business Women Australia. We're really looking forward to the first cohort kicking off hopefully before the end of this year. We were aiming for September, October for them to start, but we'll see. We've had a few women that are interested but don't want to start just yet. So if you've been on the fence thinking about it, please come on board and let's get aligned with the dates. Busy women have busy calendars, so we are happy to just push it out a little bit later if that is how everyone wants to commence.
Yeah, and I'm queen of the pivot, as you all just heard. And again, just in case it didn't record, if I don't sell, I have conversations. I invite into connections. So for anyone that's like afraid to book a call because they don't want me to like try hard close them, it's not my style. Genuinely, I just want to understand what the women of Perth and Greater Australia and all over the world, like we're happy to have a hybrid model. If there's 5 women from Perth and 5 women in different locations, we'll do it hybrid. Like we're in this co-creation and collaboration to make it work, and we're ready to listen to what actually everyone is desiring in this space.
I love it. And I'm pretty sure it's been live streaming because I've looked up at the counter. It's been running live for 44 minutes. So between the two of us, Lezly Kaye, we got there. I love it.
We got there.
And this is what it's all about. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
I'll leave you with that one. Okay. Well, we will end it now and say goodbye to everyone. And I'll have a go at trying the out video. Here we go.
I love it. I love it.
We're getting there.
You have been listening to the Business Women Australia podcast show. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and gained some valuable insights to empower you on your journey. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to stay updated in our latest episodes. And if you're not already a member of Business Women Australia, what are you waiting for? Head to our website today and join so that you can connect with a thriving community of inspiring women across Australia. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.